Here we go. Well, hello and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to Talking Leeds, episode 36, Georgie boy, of this one. And 11 points to go is the title. But introductions, good evening, Mr. George. How are you, sir?
Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good late morning, good middle of the night, whatever time you're watching it. Good evening to you, Arron. I hope you're well. Good evening to Pele 10, who says, Arron, you're late. Carl, good evening, mate. Anybody, we're live on my channel, The Bearded Peacock, as well. Anybody joining us from there, everybody's very welcome. And how are you, Arron? How are you doing? Hi, George. And Arron says Pele 10 now. Yes, hello to you.
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you. Been enjoying the glorious weather. The sun is shining. Leeds are top of the league, 2 points clear, and destiny is well and truly back in our hands. It's good to be a Leeds United fan at the moment, isn't it, George?
Well, it's great when we win, isn't it? You know, I think we sat here last week, Aaron, and we said, ooh, Luton Town, it did prove to be a bit of a banana skin for Leeds. We haven't spoken since that Saturday lunchtime kickoff. And yeah, you know, when we win, everybody's happy. When we lose, everybody's not. And obviously, like you said, it's back in our hands, mate. We're, you know, masters of our own destiny. If we win all 5 games, that's it. The shop's closed. We're done and dusted. We're promoted. So, you know, it's
actually, we don't need to win, George. If I can correct you there, we don't actually need to win 5 games. All we need is 11 points, and that's it. We can't get caught. We're up. That's all we need.
Yeah. So look, 11 points is 3 wins, 2 draws, isn't it? But you know, and that's 5 games. So you know, it was disappointing. The recent form, obviously, arrested at Middlesbrough on Tuesday night, which was great to see. But you know, a bit of a positive spin on it. I do like to try and be positive.
Oh, you be positive, bloody hell!
Even though you know, about Leeds United, it's all negative, isn't it? It has been negative, and we haven't been able to celebrate such things, have we?
Negative all season.
Well, you know, why could it not be? You know what I mean? How could it not be sometimes, Aaron? They've been really, really poor, actually, at times. But this time, obviously, and if you put a positive spin on it, yes, we've only won 1 out of the last 4. But I think we're unbeaten in 5. We won 2 and drawn 3. So we're starting to, you know, you look at it after a win and say, hey, unbeaten in 5. You know, Preston at the weekend is a winnable game as long as it doesn't happen like Swansea did. You know, we'll be okay. But it can get frustrating, Aaron, obviously, as you know. Saturday I was absolutely livid. I would like to just say, if anybody's joining us on my channel, I've got a few new subscribers, as we're doing well on here on Talking Leeds as well. But I managed to bump up quite an audience for my rant at the weekend after Daniel Farke was boiling my blood, and that was a very, very frustrating just pour out of emotion. But that was how I was feeling at the time, and I'm still not changed my mind. I know you regularly ask me, Arron. But I've still not changed my mind. I'm still the manager, quietly after a win. But what I'm saying.
I'd like to quote a couple of your WhatsApp messages.
Oh, not again!
If I may.
Not again.
Not Ryan. Here we go. Now he can now go, Ryan Wilson. You're talking to there, not just results but performances as well. Subs and game management just awful. Time is up. Pull the effing trigger. That's you. Wait for Farke to come out and say it's a good point. Piss off. Time is up. And then it gets better. This is at 14:35 on Saturday. I think they should sack him today. Give him some hope for Borough. It's going to happen anyway. Might as well do it now. There it is. A good point. Get out. He has to go. It would improve the team no end. Sack the manager. Sack him. I've got the party poppers out in readiness, says George.
No, but that was, to be fair, that was.
I will put this. Get rid of him now. There you go. That's just a little insight into our into our WhatsApp. It does make me chuckle. And George is still ranting about Daniel Farke once he's gone. Do you agree in the comments? Please do let us know. George, I don't want to boil any more of your blood, but we do need to discuss the two games which have happened since we last spoke. Luton and Middlesbrough. Luton away. Bear in mind now you said just wait for him to come out and say it's a good point. It kind of is a good point.
Well, he did say that, and it's really, really not. I mean, Pele, yeah, I know about meditation, mate. I know no end of meditation. I've done it plenty of times.
George, Pele, listen, meditation, you can't, every Leeds United fan up and down this land will be taking up meditation, but it doesn't happen. We're Leeds, it never happens easy. If we did meditation, half of Beeston Hill would have everybody, meditating on the grass.
Yes, forget medication. Forget medication. Forget meditation. We need medication to deal with Leeds United, don't we? But,
George, no, I just want to touch on the point then. So going back to it, is it a good point now?
No. Oh. They should have won. I mean, you can't come out to me, Arron. I know it was in the past. We've played since and we've won. Everybody's happy. Everybody's calm. If Leeds United would have drawn or lost against Borough, everybody would have imploded. I think people's heads would have actually literally have gone back pop. If Borough would have equalised or whatever in the final knockings of that game. It's not a good point, Arron. It's not at all.
It is right now because we're 2 points clear of third. Sheffield United are in free fall. Burnley just do what Burnley do and grind out results. It's back in our hands, given what Saturday we were thinking, God, this is the place. I've booked a holiday. I've said to the missus, look, I'm going to have to look at getting a day return flight from Malaga to London, all this sort of stuff. It's kind of giving that what it says, that 11 points will do it. That's all we need. You just say 4 wins and it's done. But 11 is the magic number. You've got 3 home games to do that. It's got to be okay, George. I've played away from home. It's got to be okay right now in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, we will talk about Middlesbrough and the poor linesman and how he's been relegated to League One, by the way, which we'll come on to. I think the Luton game was always tricky. They're fighting for their lives, and this is the thing now at the Championship, George. Everybody's fighting for whatever at the bottom or the top, and there's no easy game here. A point away from home now is okay.
No, I disagree wholeheartedly with that.
But does it?
Yeah,
Given,
against a relegation team like that.
but they're
No,
scrap.
it's
And
not
do you
a
know
good
what,
point.
George?
No,
You have to give
I won't
Luton.
even hear it.
Well, I'm going to say it.
Don't say it, but yeah.
You got to look at it. With time has gone on from Luton. They actually played okay. Did Luton Town? They did a job on us. Yeah, they got 4
Every
points
team
in 2
do.
away games is good, George, says Pele. I completely agree, Pele. I really, really do. 4 points in 2 away games is okay. It's good. It should have been 6. Of course it should have been 6. Of course it should have been 6.
No, I mean, this is where the manager gets me absolutely frustrated. This is what I said on that post-match. I said, if the manager has the mentality, because he does, let's be honest, that a point away from home at any ground in this division is a good point, then it's going to go on to the team. The boys are going to think, well, hell, we're not going to win this game. Well, sod it, we drew. It's all right. That's not going to win you that's not going to get you promoted. So this is why he needs to go, and we need better. It's the wrong mentality for this club. He's got it completely wrong.
Would you agree, though, that a point away from home in the Premier League is a good point?
Well, of course it is. But
so why is it not the same in the Championship?
Because it's a lower standard of opposition you're playing. Carl's completely right. The only way it turned into a decent point potentially was because Sheffield United have lost 2 on the bounce.
Correct.
That's the only. So we're going off favours from other teams, and
which naturally is going to happen though. I guarantee Burnley will not go unbeaten until the end of the season.
I think they might.
I've
said it a while ago. They've gone 27, 28 games unbeaten. It's incredible.
It is an incredible run, and I don't think it will continue.
But to be fair, like we've only lost 1 in like 23 or something like this. So that's why we're at the top and they're at the top, 85 points each. But I don't know, Pele. The manager sets the mentality for the team, and I don't know. You don't know what they're thinking. But for me, if my manager's like, yeah, lads, try your best to win, of course. But if you're going to draw, then that's fine. Then you're going to think, well, he's fine with the draw. We're fine with the draw away from home. And for me, Luton Town away, regardless of whether they're underperforming at this level this season, regardless of whether it's a hard place to go, if you're going to get promoted and you want to be serious about it, you go there and win. You grind it out maybe, but you go there and win. I think it's unacceptable to draw a game of football against a team who are, with respect to them, they're fighting it hard. Whether they go down or not, it's anybody's game. I think, we'll come on to Preston later on, Arron, but I think Preston are still in there with a relegation chance, to be quite honest, at the very end of it. But there's still, anything can happen. 5 games to go. But
I agree. But I just think I want to move on to Middlesbrough in a second. For me, the Luton Town game, it's gone. It's out of the way now. It's finished. You could argue it wasn't a good result, but given that we went 1-0 down and we've got it over the line, it does look a good point right now because it's given us that window. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Sheffield United have lost 2 in the bounce. I think they're in free fall. I watched them whilst watching Leeds on Tuesday. They just couldn't find the back of the net.
They're not good. They're not good. I've watched them quite a few times this season as well, Arron, and I've not been impressed once. Actually, I have been impressed with the way they took about Coventry a couple of weeks ago. But other than that, every time I've seen them, they've been really average. The pressure is obviously hitting them. And Pele says Preston on the beach. I don't know, really. The 1 win in 10. I mean, we'll look at that game towards the end, but we are everybody's cup final. Of course it is, But on to Borough if you want.
Go on then, Borough. Talk about Borough, George. 1-0 should have been 3. There's no words for this one. I think it was a great 3 points, fully deserved. It's given us some momentum now, and they needed an ugly win. Did Leeds?
They did.
They needed to get that now rather than later. So they've got that in the arsenal that they can actually do it. Middlesbrough looked okay. I think they were really woeful with their opportunities. They were just shocking. And then we need to get to the talking point. It was the linesman. Absolutely diabolical officiating in that one. Darren Williams.
Darren Williams.
The world's shittest linesman. And if you want to, there he is now. If you want to get one of those little things for Christmas for your kids, you can get one of those little action figures because he is the world shit. We're pre-ordering now. If you want to get one, just DM us and we'll send it to you. But yeah, Darren Williams, absolutely the world's shittest linesman. He ruled off 2 clear goals for Leeds United, and it isn't the first time he's done it this season. There are no words, are there, George, for that?
Well, I mean, look,
it's not the big talking point, isn't it?
It is. I mean, not even the first time he's done it it's the 4th goal he's chalked from us off in 2 months. I mean, all of them goals, the 2 at Borough on Tuesday, the 1 at Coventry in February, and the 1 against Millwall at Ellen Road about a month ago, all 4 of them legitimate, really good, actually, some of them really good goals. That one that, Perot scored was really nice. And for him to chalk it off, it doesn't, it is obviously a mistake. It's not match fixing or anything like this. But you've got to say, hang on, mate, you're probably not that good at your job. And, and I know you all have off days and everything like that. But, it's not a coincidence. You don't get those wrong twice. If you look at the line, Pat Bamford especially, it was no excuses for that. And I was sad for Pat because it was such a Paddy Bamford finish, wasn't it? It was such a
great goal. Absolutely brilliant.
Ran it really, studied it nicely, latched onto Willie's through ball. It was a nicely timed ball, nicely weighted ball, and just stick it in. It was reminiscent of plenty of goals. If you look at his goal reel for Leeds United, I'm sure you could have picked out plenty very, very similar. And I was really disappointed for Patrick because, I know he did well, though. And people are now saying, he should be starting on Saturday. So, he's come sort of a forgotten man. But I was disappointed for him on Tuesday, really, because that would have made the game completely safe. And AO, obviously, it's a little bit more difficult, but I'm not excusing that because you could see clear as day as well that he was level with the defender before he put the ball in the empty net. So no excuses. And that one would have, again, right before half-time, would have probably seen us home, actually.
I think as well, George, I think you're absolutely right. It's just the standard is just poor. And for those who haven't read, he has been relegated to League One, so God help League One, because he should be banned, not demoted, says Jimbo. I completely agree with you, Jimbo. He should be banned. He should be sacked.
It was such a, if they'd have scored Borough in the final minute of that game,
completely different conversation with
people would have. Yeah, I mean, we can pass it off a bit, Arron, and say, hey, he was shocking, he was shit, but we won the game and all's good. Our goal difference is healthy as well, mate, isn't it? So,
I tell you what, though, George, I think, and I know we don't like VAR, I think given, and I know that it hasn't happened to us, there's been other teams in and around us which have had poor decisions. I think Sheffield United have had a few poor decisions made against them. I do think now there is, especially if this would have gone wrong, if we'd have dropped points due to those 2 clear goals not happening, there's a real clear demand now for VAR in the Championship, and there is talk of next year, a little scoop for you, George, that the Championship will introduce some form of VAR next year. And I think especially for these, because that could have been, if Middlesbrough, we lost that one, the amount of money which that will have cost us is huge. And I do think, VAR will come into the Championship next year. I think it is on the cards, whether we're in it or not.
Well, the amount of money potentially that it might have cost Leeds. There's still 5 games to go. We don't know how it's
absolutely
going to go.
Yeah,
well, I agree. It was just not good enough. I mean, you can understand if it's marginal and whatever, but it wasn't even marginal. The man, Bamford, he was actually behind. He was almost behind the defender when the ball was played to him. So how on earth are you watching it thinking that? Like Jimbo says, he needs retraining. He needs.
No, but I'm sorry, but it doesn't need retraining, George, because he can't actually do his job. There's not. I'm not saying. And Daniel Fark did come out and say, I'm really a big supporter of the linesman and things like that. I'm like, no. He needs sacking. He can't do it. He can't do the job.
Like I said, it's not a coincidence, Arron, mate, where you do it 4 times in the space of a couple of months, and that's only Leeds United. That we don't really hear about other ones, do we? And it happens all the time. But then obviously, maybe you just got to say, actually, this job isn't for you, because you're going to cost teams and people are going to get on your back and all sorts. And I didn't even know this man before Tuesday game, and now you can't go with anything Leeds United without seeing his face or hearing his name. So you know what I mean. And that's 2 days. He must have had hell, to be fair, over the last couple of days. But
however, George, a great win for Leeds against Middlesbrough. I think that's really will allow us to kick on now. I think, don't you agree that we needed that gutsy, earthy kind of 1-0 shithouse win. We needed that.
Yeah, honestly, we did. It gives them the confidence, Arron, that they can do it again.
Yes,
I think absolutely. A lot of the lads might have forgotten the feeling of winning a game. We'd last won about a month ago now against Millwall, and I think the lads, after giving the Paul run of form, I mean, everything like that, it was good for the boys to just finally get that win back and that feeling of winning the game. And yes, we can do it. And Middlesbrough for this level are a decent opposition. And we went there, we won. We should have won by more, obviously. And and that was it. It would have given the boys so much more confidence. Hopefully, coming off a win, we can then go and really put one up Preston on Saturday. Get back to what Ellen Road should be. After that. Swansea game, after the recent West Brom game, early doors in March. There's a few disappointing results there. I know we haven't lost, but we've drawn games that potentially earlier on in the season we would have wiped the floor with these teams. Not on the scoreline, maybe, but definitely on the balance of play. And it will be nice if we could go and just comfortably win on Saturday and turn up. And I actually think we will do, given the boost of confidence that win against Borough will have done. I don't know, Pele, 13 for better. Well, yeah, but if they get less points, then they get less points. It doesn't matter about goal difference, does it really? And the other teams behind them, there's some massive games, actually, if you look at the bottom of the table there this weekend. I think Cardiff are playing Stoke, and I think Derby are playing, it might be Hull or Plymouth or something like that. So I think it's Luton.
I could give you, if you would like, I can tell you the fixtures for this match week. Burnley are on at home against Norwich on Friday evening. Then it's Leeds, Preston, Plymouth, Sheffield United. I think that's a tough game for Chris Wilder and Sheffield United. 12:30 kickoff as well. Cardiff, as you say, plays Stoke. Luton play Blackburn. Blackburn have been really poor of recent.
Yeah.
Millwall, Middlesbrough. Millwall pushing for a playoff place. Portsmouth take on Derby, as you said. QPR, Bristol City. Bristol City have come up from nowhere. Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford. Sunderland, Swansea. And West Bromwich Albion take on Watford.
So it was Portsmouth Derby I was thinking of. That's, again, a very big game at the bottom of the table as well. There's about 5 or 6 teams around it.
Yeah.
And, and I would put, contrary to Pele, and obviously you're entitled to your opinion as well, mate, of course. But I would say that even though given their better goal difference, Preston, given the form of the team and given the form of some of the other teams in and around it, I would say they need at least another one, maybe even two wins to actually give themselves.
I don't know. I think looking at that, I don't. I think Preston will be safe.
Preston should be safe, yeah,
They
but like
should be 49 points. I don't think if you get relegated on 49 points this season, given that Plymouth, Luton are 2 points away, Cardiff are down there, Derby, Stoke, Hull. I think Oxford are kind of Portsmouth. I think they're kind of safe.
No, I disagree.
I don't think. I think they will. Portsmouth and Oxford, they should see it over the line. They just need
Portsmouth, yeah, but Portsmouth played Derby. If they lose that, I think Derby go level.
Yeah, it could pull them in. Yeah, but Derby need the points to pull away. Cardiff obviously need the points. I think the key one for us, though, George, looking at this from Leeds United perspective, Plymouth are at home against Sheffield United. That's a really tricky one, given that Sheffield United have just lost 2 on the bounce. Plymouth are absolutely scraping and scrapping for points. And it's 12:30 as well. Way, the 12:30.
So are we as well.
We are as well, so we're playing at the same time. I don't know. I think that's a real tough one. I'd love to see Plymouth win, but I don't know. I think it could be a draw, that one, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, look, I mean,
but we don't know. We don't.
Look, any point that they're in third position, aren't they now? Any points that they drop and we gain points on them at this late stage of the season, you're rubbing your hands, aren't you? Really, at this moment in time, yes, you want to see sort of Burnley lose points, but they're not that important right now. It's the team in third that you're always looking to drop points, and obviously is gain points at the same time. You know, Burnley, I don't really care if they win, then fine, they're on 88. Go top. If we win on Saturday, we go level on 88, and it's all what Sheffield United do. As long as we better their result, then we're one step closer to promotion. And who do you think the biggest challenges for the top two? I think it's Burnley. I think Burnley, Sheffield United,
haven't we, George?
Yeah,
Burnley are the ones for me.
Burnley are the ones that will go up with us.
Have you changed your tune? You've changed the tune.
I had a slight wobble, Aaron. Look, we're all entitled to it. The team have not been performing. If we'd got some, and it's so frustrating. Look, you can't really look back at it, but you do. You can't help yourself. That Swansea game the other week was unforgivable. If we'd have got 2 more points, we'd have been 2 points clear at the top, four clear. But it's swings and roundabouts really at the time, and you just don't know how each game is going to impact the actual end of season.
So going back to what Carl says there, who do you think our biggest challenge is the top two?
Well,
Burnley, Sheffield United. I would say Burnley for me. The defensive record is phenomenal. They've only lost 2 games all season. Yeah. Burnley for me, right now, if the season finished, and it's us and them which go up, I think Burnley would deserve to go up.
Burnley 100% deserve to go up, Aaron. They 100% do.
Their defence is literally a brick wall.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But, I really don't get it. But they don't score enough goals. That's the worry for them. But, and the mid-table teams have scored more goals than they have. So, you know what I mean? We're obviously the top scorers. But, I think both, it's hard to say ultimately because obviously Sheffield United, they did get 2 points deducted. If they had those 2, they'd be level on points with both of us at the top. But, they don't. And in Chris Wilder's eyes, they do. And he's a silly boy because he keeps adding on those 2 points, doesn't he? And he even comes out in press conferences and says it. So if he's been speaking, I don't know because I don't listen, but I'm sure if he say it, he'll be saying, "Oh yeah, we're level with the top 2," instead of, "Oh no, mate, what world are you living in? You're 2 points behind."
I think the thing is that at this stage of the season, with 5 games to go, and I just want to give you the points. We've done the maths, so thank you to John Smith of Once Leeds, Always Leeds on Facebook. Great group, by the way. He supports our channel, does John. He's promoted as well. But I just want to give you the ins and outs of what can happen. So us and Burnley, George, can get 100 points. Blades can get 98. If Sheffield United get 98, then Burnley can only get 97. Bear this in mind. If Burnley get 100, that means Sheffield United can only get 95. So if they draw, Burnley can only get 98 and Sheffield United can only get, this is the max, Burnley, 96. That equates to Leeds United only needing 11 more points.
Yeah. So because they've got each other to play a week on Monday, I think it is.
Yeah.
We're all eyes on that, aren't we? Particularly if we've got 2 wins in the bag, coming up to that stage. So we're all eyes on that. You've got to admit, Arron, again, you look at the Oxford game. Is that Good Friday?
Yep.
Next week, and you look at that game and you think, gosh, again, it's a Luton Town-esque game, but I feel like Leeds, if you want to go and win promotion, you've got to win that game. You have to go and win that game now. There's no dicking around, as fucking what's his name put it.
Around.
Yeah, there's no dicking around this time. You just go and win the game. You can't be leaving there with a draw, and he can't come out and say, yes, it was a good point. No, none of that. Go and win the game, and obviously we've got pressure to do with
because you've got 3 home games, 2 away.
This is what I mean. So
if you go on that plan, which you keep saying, if you return 11 points from these 4 games and you win your home games and you draw your 2 remaining away games, you're done.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it's football, isn't it? It's Leeds United, Arron, as well, and it's not going to go as easy as
I think all the ins and outs. We know what they are. I think it will. I think the key one will be the Sheffield United Burnley game. I think the outcome of that will give us a clearer idea of where we need to be. Leeds. I think we play on that Easter one. We play Stoke at home. We could win that. Leeds United will put the big screen on because I think Sheffield United Burnley kick off at 5:30. Ellen Road will be packed. Everybody will be watching that, and then I think it will be done. Then, hopefully, by then, that's what I'm hoping for. If not, we have got Bristol City under the lights on Monday the 28th to seal it and get it done. That for
well, hopefully, but it all just kind of. It's all going the right way, like Dale says.
I was just saying there, George, seal it for our playoff campaign. That's what I was saying.
Well, there you go. I mean, look, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But Dale says, teams on the beach have no pressure and therefore offer more the threat, fellas. Yeah, potentially.
True.
There's a point looking at who each team is facing. Everybody can beat anybody. Exactly. We could go and lose to Preston on Saturday, and it's pressure on again. So I think the boys just need to take it one at a time. It's an old cliche, take it at a time. Pressure on, but confidence higher than it was probably last week. And what I've got to say, Arron, also is, like Carl mentioned a bit further up, why on earth did it take them so long to drop Mr. Melier in the goal? And Darlow has come in and he's done a good job, clean sheet will have done his confidence a world of good on Tuesday, and he will be there for the last 5 games of the season. He'll be there. Melier's gone for me now. He's finished. He'll be gone in the summer, and finally you get the opportunity to see an actual real goalkeeper, between the sticks, because it won't be Darlow. Let's be honest. If we get promoted, hopefully we can go out and spend some money on it.
Nick Pope has been linked with a move to Leeds.
Has he? Look, I mean, that wouldn't. There's worse players to come, isn't there? You know what I mean? He's a decent, well-experienced Champions League goalkeeper, isn't he? I think so. You know what I mean? He's well experienced, and that wouldn't be bad for me. Absolutely not. I'd take him probably, and as long as he can actually save a shot and not mess about, then that's fair enough. So yeah, I think we've seen the last of Meslier in a Leeds shirt.
Okay, it's time for this thing. It's Tanaka time, George. So, George, what's caught your eye this week?
Well, I'm going to go back to basics here, and I'm going to go with Tanaka himself.
Okay.
Because Park was speaking of him on Tuesday, wasn't he? And you could see visibly he was full of emotion. He was crying, wasn't he? He was crying there on the pitch, on his knees, crying. And, Park said he was in tears in the changing room at Luton because he couldn't understand. He couldn't understand why the fans were giving him jip. And, look, he's had all but praise, hasn't he, from the fans since he came in. Now he's getting a bit of jip. It's hard for him to take. So,
But Tanaka, though, I'll be honest with you, George, I think he's been off point. He hasn't been his usual kind of whizzy kind of self of recent. I think he's been lacking in confidence, and
there's something not right.
There's something not quite right with him at the moment for Arron.
And
we've got a feature named after him because we think he's fantastic and he's shown real promise. And I think he is up there as a really good quality player. But for me recently, he just hasn't been his usual self.
No, and I just wanted to get your opinion on him, with the Tanaka time, the spotlight on him, and that was it. I just wanted to put the spotlight on him a little bit because I know that, Daniel has been speaking about him, and I noticed that he has dropped in performance levels, and it hasn't been good enough the last few, to be fair. And obviously he's not exempt from criticism like any other player is. So, yeah.
What do you think they judge? Do you think? I think, given that we've got a few injuries at the moment, do you still continue to play Tanaka even though he's not in form?
Yeah, I think.
Is he at this moment in time in the season? Is he droppable?
I don't.
Or is he undroppable?
I think you've got to keep going with him. I was actually excited and I was quite happy to see Ilagruev in the starting 11 on Tuesday. I just thought the game kind of was set up a little bit for him, and good to see him come back in. Obviously, we've got Rothwell out, probably potentially for the season. Maybe he won't. Maybe he's done as well in the Leeds shirt because I don't see. I know his argument is there whether he deserves it or not. He's played an extremely important part in it if we do get promoted. But I don't think he's probably Premier League quality, and I don't think he will get the opportunity to be at Leeds if we do get promoted. So potentially we might have seen the last of him. But I think Tanaka, you've got to say he has to start the games because he's so impressive on his day. He has just been slightly off it. I don't know whether it's the travelling.
It's the same with the thing is that we can make an argument for Manor Solomon because I think he's been really poor over the last kind of.
See, Solomon has
even the game at Middlesbrough. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, if he had just thrown his body at, the cross from Dan James, he would have got a goal." But I just think he's been really off it as Solomon. I think him and Tanaka are absolutely knackered. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think they're both running to the ground. I don't think Tanaka is. Yeah, he looks knackered. He's a lot of international football, a lot of miles, he's not used to the Championship. Lots of vigorous play. Very quick turnovers, and it is real that the players get pressure on the bodies, and they won't be used to that. Look, in Germany they have a mid-season break, don't they, and all this kind of stuff. It's probably not as intense. The games of football, and he's obviously physically, and they were absolutely done. Like Carl says, they were knackered at the end there. They were absolutely knackered, and he was emotionally tired as well. And I felt a bit sorry for him really because He's trying his best. He's given a lot to us in the short space of time he's been there. And although it just shows that he isn't exempt from any kind of criticism, he does still warrant that when it is warranted from the fans. The fans won't sugarcoat stuff just because it's Tanaka or whoever. They'll say, no, he was shit, and that was why. And he obviously did get some stick on Saturday at Luton, which he obviously found quite hard to deal with. But also what I liked as well, Arron, was Fark came out and kind of, which he always does, to be fair. Well, he does with most of his players. As he supported him, you know what I mean? He was backed. He backed him and said, "Look, I'm a bit older. I can take it." But he's a young lad, even though he's not that young really in terms of football players. But you know, he was defending him, which was good to see because he needs to do that because, yeah, he needs to protect his players, obviously.
Yeah. A good Tanaka time there. Can I give you my Tanaka time, George?
Yes, of course.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this, but thank you to Jimbo who sent me this on Twitter. And I was reading this, and this is my Tanaka time. Victor Orta is my Tanaka time. He's been dubbed the worst director of football in La Liga history.
Wow.
Since 2 years since he left Leeds, and he obviously left for Sevilla, and he's been absolutely slated in the Spanish media at the moment. Absolutely shocking, and I just think for him to be dubbed the worst director of football, I completely agree. I think he was absolutely shocking for Leeds. I know we've had this on our other channel when we did a lot of stuff on the LS11. George, I actually slated also. I think he's one of the worst director of footballs around. Yes, I know you're going to say Bielsa and Rafinha. Yes, I know. Yes, you always did. However, they don't play for Leeds anymore. They don't manage Leeds anymore. And Bielsa shouldn't have been sacked at the time. And I just think, for me, just the proof's in the pudding. He's just a useless man. He was shit at Middlesbrough. He was shit at Leeds, and now he's shit at Sevilla.
Yeah, well, there you go, Arron. He made more bad than good, didn't he, when he was at Leeds? And yes, he made them absolute gems, and he had a part to play in Bielsa's, appointment and all that, and Rafinha's, signing.
And Rafinha, by the way, is odds on for the Ballon d'Or this year.
I'm sure he will win that, Arron. Actually, yeah. He's had a great season. They obviously scored another goal when they beat Dortmund last night, and it's good to see. I was talking...
And don't forget as well, George, as well. If I think I mentioned this to you, or I mentioned it to Jerry. If Rafinha, if Barcelona win the Champions League, Leeds will get a 10 million quid windfall.
Yeah, see, you know what I mean? Again, they did do some kind of right stuff and put promotion, these sort of clauses in contracts, money from behind the scenes, that, otherwise, fans might not realise or recognise. But, that's what they did as well. They know that Rafinha was such a massive, sale for them and such a big player for us in the time he was with us, that they were not silly enough to let him go without having some kind of clause, some kind of money back, which is, what we need really, particularly if we're going into the Premier League, we need that money, whether it's to improve the squad, which hopefully it will be, or whether it's to improve the standard of the stadium,
Yeah. Okay. Good Tanaka time now. Tanaka time will be back next week. If you want to get involved in Tanaka time, you can. Just tag us on X with them, or you can DM us on X, Talking Leeds Pod, or you can email us at talkinglefc@gmail.com. If you want to get your Tanaka time in, you can. Absolutely. George, Preston, then let's have a little think ahead to that. Oh, do you want to do the quiz? Should we do the quiz? Do you want to do the quiz?
Why not? Why not do that?
Okay, let's do the quiz then. Okay, trivia quiz. Given that we want Barcelona to win the Champions League, George, I have given you the Leeds United Champions League quiz when we were back in the Champions League in 2000 to 2001. So I've got 5 questions all about Leeds in the Champions League. So there we go. Linked in well with my Tanaka time and yours with Rafinha. So George, are you ready to have a little go at the quiz?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cover up the comments. You know the word.
Oh yes. Yep.
Because people do comment. They do get the quiz questions in. Jimbo, we'll have a look at your comment as well about the player of the season. We'll do that after the quick quiz. Quick fire quiz. George, so in the Champions League, which stage of the competition did Leeds United reach?
Was it the semi-finals?
It was the semi-finals. Well done. Question number 2. Which Spanish side knocked Leeds United out of the Champions League in the semi-finals?
Valencia.
Yes, it was. Well done. 2 out of 2. You're going well. 3. Who was Leeds United's manager during the Champions League campaign?
David O'Leary.
Yes, it was. Well done. You're doing well. Question 4. I think you can get for the first time this season 5 out of 5. Which Leeds United striker scored a memorable hat-trick against Besiktas in the group stage?
Paducah.
No. Oh, no. Have another go.
Was it Smith?
Alan Smith. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was Alan Smith. And your final one, according to ChatGPT, as we use this as our quiz question generator, Leeds United played AC Milan in the second group stage. What was the result of their home match at Elland Road? And I'll give you a bonus point if you tell me who scored it. At Elland Road. Not away.
1-0, wasn't it?
It was. No, it was scored by Alan Smith.
Oh,
there you go.
I thought it was
I'll give you that. 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. I'll give you it. Well done. Let us know how you got on in the comments as well. That was quick. Right, George, Preston North End, from the Champions League to the Championship, the greatest league in all the land. Forget the riches of the Champions League. We don't want that nonsense. We want the Championship, and we love it. And I just can't wait for our playoff campaign to begin in the Championship. And I want us to lose to commentary in the finals so that we can stay in the Championship more. Because I love it. I want back to be in the Premier League rather than us. It's going to be great. Oh, don't we all? This is what we all want. Championship. Yes. Championship. Playing Preston every week is great.
Well, we would as well because they're not going anywhere, are they? Bloody
Preston and Birmingham and Wrexham. All at Elland Road. It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, there you go. Preston forever. Preston against Leeds.
Preston, Wrexham, Birmingham forever.
Preston Leeds, Preston forever. 46.
Wrexham versus Leeds, the Bridlaw derby. Oh, fantastic! Can't wait.
23 times, 46 games a season we play Preston.
Preston and we want to be played Preston, Southampton, Wrexham, and Crawley Town if they win the playoffs in League One. I don't know where they are.
No, Crawley could get relegated.
Not Crawley. But he can't. Not Carlisle. They're going to get relegated from the Football League. Remember when we played Carlisle in the
Johnny Houston last minute.
Johnny Houston last minute. I'll tell you what. Where were you when that went in? I was in Leeds. It was mental.
Oh yeah, I think I was just watching at home. To be fair, you're a little bit old. You're a little bit older than me. You have a few years on me.
It was. It's brilliant. Went to. I don't know if you Leeds. No, Leeds. It was the sport. It was the sports bar in Leeds.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Pints.
Brotherhood.
No, not Brotherhood. It used to be called Sports Bar. I think it still is a sports bar now. It's where what is it now? I think it still is. It's where Fight Club is now.
Oh right, I think I know.
Anyway, regardless of that. That's all been and gone. Let's get on to Preston in the Championship, which we love. Preston at home on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, George. Massive game for us. How do you see this one going?
Well, like you said, Arron, a huge game for Leeds, as it always is. They're all 5 are now, aren't they? But, look, again, I'll say it again, if you want to win the promotion, home game against a team who, like Pele 10 said before, they're, potentially on the beach, is a 3-point. It's a shoe-in. It has to be. It has to be. It really does. It will be difficult. They will make it difficult for Leeds. They will come and say, hey, break us down if you want. We're going to get a set piece and potentially stink one out. But, ultimately, I think Leeds, given the game on Tuesday, they win against Borough, more confidence in the squad, more belief that, yeah, we're a good team. We can win games of football. Stop with this silliness of conceding ridiculously soft goals and all this kind of stuff. With a renewed sort of back line of Darlow, Ampadu at the back, the red wall, as Fark calls it, with Rodon and Ampadu at the back. I think we'll wipe the floor with Preston, actually. And I think it's about time, again, that a team come to Leeds and got absolutely nothing, but also in the same breath got absolutely spanked. And, it's about time, to be fair. We've had a long time since Cardiff came and got spanked 7. So I think, we need another day that everything goes in the net and, where it's free flowing, where you're going into a match, the last 5 thinking, your mind is free thinking, yeah, we're going to win this game, instead of the last sort of month or so where you're really, feeling, very nervous about games all of a sudden, whereas before the season, we were flying through games like this. And, given that, if this was October, November time, Arron, you'd be saying, yeah, easy 2-3-0 for Leeds. And it probably would be as well.
Yeah, Preston, though, they know how to do a number on us, don't they?
They do. They really do. I mean, away in December, just before Christmas, it was or was it just after? And I think it was just before, when it was a 1-1 draw. We stank it out that day. We got a late own goal and drew the game. So they do seem to beat us at Deepdale last season. We had a tricky game. We beat them 2-1, didn't we, last season at Ellen Road? But it was a game we had to come from behind in that one. So they seem to have a little bit of something about them when Leeds, they're against Leeds United. But ultimately, yeah, if we want to get promoted, home games are meat and drink now for Leeds. They really need to be. And incidentally, Preston, they haven't won a league game at Leeds United, and maybe I shouldn't mention this, Arron, but they haven't won a league game at Leeds United since 2010, and that was the game where we were 4-1 up at half-time, and somehow we lost the game 6-4. That was their last win at Ellen Road, which is 15 years ago.
Yeah, Paul Heckingbottom is still the manager there, isn't he? At Preston, I think their goalkeeper, is it Freddie Woodman?
No, I think he's left now.
He
might be there actually, but
still there? He always, I think he's been there years, hasn't he? He always has the game of his life against.
I think he didn't play the last one, Arron. I don't know if.
I always remember him that he always seems to have the game of his life against us. Anyway.
He's injured.
Oh, is he injured?
Yeah, he's out for the season. Yeah.
Oh, might have a chance then. Who's the centre back as well at Tall Bugger?
The guy with he's got a man bun.
Yes, him.
Potts.
Yeah. That's it. Potts.
He always seems to stink it out, doesn't he, and have a decent match.
Him and Freddie Woodman, anyway.
Actually, I think he's also. I mean, you'll be happy about this, Arron. He's also injured as well.
Have a chance then. Have a chance. Right then, George. Go on then. Obviously, you want to see a strong performance. You want to see a 7-0 hammering. What's your score prediction for this?
Yeah, look, I think we. Ultimately, I'm not silly. I know that we're not going to win 7-0, but I think Leeds, like I said, coming back to Ellen Road again after the last home game, they'll want to prove themselves again. Coming off the back of a confidence boosting win against the team who are, could have been tricky. I think we're going to win that up. I think we're going to win 2-0. I think. I would just like to see I would like to see us blow them away. But also, I would just like to get back to, like I said, Arron, just standard kind of football. No kind of trepidation. just that Leeds United are going to win a game of football at Ellen Road. Of recent times, it's been like, yeah, I kind of know we're not going to lose a game, but more often than not, we don't lose at Ellen Road. But you're kind of comfortable that we're not going to lose a game. But draws at this point and draws at home are just not going to wash now. So they need to come with a better attitude, and I believe that winning midweek will do the trick. I think Leeds will go full confidence. He might make changes, he might not, but I think we'll be full of confidence. I think we'll blow them away. Pretty simple. Not like in the scoreline, but I think on the pitch as the game plays out. Like you said, they're missing, the key man. The goalkeeper does always seem to have a good game. That, Mr. Potts is also one that always seems to get on the score sheet. They do have one or two difficult-looking players. The Montenegrin lad, that Melier, had a little bit of a do with on Boxing Day, year before last. He maybe be playing. He's got a few goals. There's a man, the other striker, the Danish lad, Jacobson, who's got 10 goals. Could be a little bit of a danger. And they like to play long ball, don't they? We know what Heckingbottom is. He's very much long ball. He likes that very combative, very, in your face kind of football. And they'll definitely come with that attitude. Whether Leeds can, temper that and just play their own game, I believe we will be able to do that on Saturday. I think we're going to win, yeah.
Good. So George says 2-0. Carl says 3-0. Put the pressure on the others. My prediction for this one, George, is I do think Leeds will win on Saturday. I think they'll break the 12:30 Sky Sports hoodoo. And I think Leeds will win ugly again. I think it'll be 2-1. I think they'll put us. I think the pressure will be on us a little bit.
They will put us under pressure.
The key thing, what we need to do from now until the end of the season is score first, and then when we score, like we did against Swansea, we should have killed the game. We should have got the second goal, and I think that's what Farke needs to do. If we score first and get the second goal and really kill the game off, before half time. If you're going in 2-0 up at half time, you'll win the game comfortably.
Yeah, I believe
that's all that we need to do. Just score first, keep calm, and keep going. That's the key thing. So
that's it. The key thing is scoring first. Because more often than not, recent times we haven't scored first. We end up chasing the game a little bit. Yeah. Borough, we scored first, and it was a little bit nervy because it's a great start, but the other edge of the sword is you've got so long now to kind of hold off with it.
Yeah, I don't, and my heart. Watching that on Tuesday, George, my heart can't take any more games like that this season.
No. Well, you're going to get them, mate. You're probably going to get 5 more of them. But you know what I mean? That's the thing. That's what it is, isn't it? It's tense, and it's you just want to sit back and say, hey, it's another comfortable 2-0 win. She went through a spate of few on the bounce, comfortable kind of 2-3-0 results at home. And I feel like if this was, like I said, if this was October, November, mid-season kind of thing, we probably would put in that kind of performance again. And this would be another one that you'd probably forget about and put the points in the bank. But, as it been the last 5 games, people get nervous. But the energy in the ground has to be rambunctious and raucous. It has to be bouncing, and then the boys can then feel that. Pascal said it ages ago. I know he's out now, probably for the season, but he said they feel comfortable at Ellen Road, and that's what we like. And it shows more often than not. To be fair, it's just the odd time this season, like the Swansea game or the West Brom match, that they've looked a little bit cautious at home, but genuinely we look kind of quite balanced, quite solid, and quite comfortable. And hopefully we have that on Saturday for us. And Junior Firpo's massive for this, I think, as well. And having him in the squad, I don't know. You look at the fullbacks are massive to how we play. Bogle and Firpo. If you have Byram on there, you're thinking, fucking shit, man. But But you've got Firpo and Bogle there. You know they're going to be running the channels. They're going to be joining in with attacks and stuff like that. And also, what I would just like to say before we finish, Aaron, is a big shout to to Mr. Isaac Smith, who, was great. It was great to have him on for more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the end. I think he got
good.
Yeah, exactly. He looked up for it. You know what I mean? He looked, so maybe he's bringing himself finally into contention for some kind of minutes, more than 2-3 minutes at the end of the game, because, he also is in the same vein as the Bogle, the Furpose. Would you start Bamford or Perot? Me personally, I would actually start Bamford over Perot. But also then you've got the argument, or do you put Yoel in the number 10? And this argument was last season's with Rutter and Perot. But for me, Bamford has probably done enough there. Let's be honest, he should have had a goal. And
I would love to see Bamford start. And I have been calling this, George. I've been calling it all season. Patrick Bamford is going to score the winning goal to take us up to the Premier League in the playoff final. But I just want to say, Bamford, though, George, I don't think he's 100% fit yet.
No, of course he's not.
He's there. I think he'd still start Perot, but I do think Bamford is knocking on the door.
Come on, Aaron. Bamford is never fully fit, is he? Come on.
But for 90 minutes, it's a big one.
When was the last time Pat Bamford played 90 minutes? I really would,
was it about 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
It's a good trivia question, that, because I really don't know. It can be quite a long time ago. I would have said,
I just want to as well just touch on this before we wrap things up. And Jimbo made a really good point. George, who are you thinking for player of the season? Just give me one name and a reason. And if you want to, in the comments as well, put your one name and the reason. Who is your Leeds United player of the season so far?
Just incidentally, Bamford last played 9 minutes on my birthday, actually, with that defeat to Middlesbrough in the FA in the League Cup early season. That was the last time he played 90 minutes, so not that long ago, really. But in terms of player of the season, it's got to be Dan James, really, hasn't it? I think that's the guy on everybody's minds, because he just, he's done so well. Is it 12 goals this season? I don't know how many assists. 2 and 2, although he hasn't been that good of recent times, and he has sort of lowered his standard, as a lot of them have, of the high standard they've set. I think personally, Bamford is Dan James. Bamford on my mind now. I think Dan James is
Bamford's on his mind. Bamford's on his mind.
Dan James is definitely. If you look at the way where he started, and what his career has gone like at Leeds, and the players that he was kind of behind as well last season in terms of Somerville, maybe Georgie as well, although he's in the same position. I think Dan has really stepped up, where, like Somerville has gone. I know you're bad now, Solomon, but he's still got a decent kind of goal involvement ratio, hasn't he? I know he hasn't been on it for some time. Me personally,
I've never bad-mouthed him, George. I just don't think he's been up there at the moment.
No, but I think he has at times in the season.
At times, yes, he's been brilliant.
He has at times, and he's really shown that, that Premier League quality that we know he has. I think he's the same as Tanaka, where he's struggling with the ferociousness of the Championship, to be honest, because he's been out injured for so long. So for me, personally, I would say Dan James, because he's weighed in with so many. Always seems to be James. If you're not seeing the game, you look, Leeds won or whatever. James is on the score sheet. More often than not, he is. And for me, it's got to be him. There has been, like Carl says, Rodon being class all season. He has been very good, very consistent. Apart from that head loss in that game against Swansea, which was ridiculous. He has been very consistent, but I think you look towards the attacking players generally, don't you?
I completely agree with you, George, as well. I would give Carl Darlow thinking that. I would say player of the season for me is Dan James. If he doesn't win it, there's something clearly wrong. He's been consistent. I think his work effort. And you've got to remember, when this guy wanted to join us, in 2019-20 season, when the whole Swansea thing fell through.
18-19,
18-19 or whatever it was, and they went to Manchester United, came back to us, went out on loan when we got relegated from the Premier League, I think, and then he stuck with us well.
He was in January when we got relegated. 2022. He
came back and fought his cause, and I think he's been a brilliant player for us. And I just think, it's brilliant, and I think he for me would be that.
No, he's been excellent. Yeah. He's been excellent, really. Generally, he's been very consistent. He's probably been the most consistent player that we've had really all season. And like I said, he's really stepped up where, Somerville's goals, you thought, I remember probably speaking to you, Arron, about it when Somerville went, and we said, well, where are the goals going to come from, DJ's really stepped up, 12 goals. He's only a few off Perot. Like we know Perot's going through a little bit of a lean spell, really. And, he's just stepped up completely, and he's doing something really, really well and right.
Good stuff. Well, George, I will be back doing a match reaction. Thank you before I give us all the shout outs of what's coming up on both of our channels, this one and yours. Just thank you to everybody who's listened and downloaded our podcast. We really do appreciate it. And please do keep continuing to share and subscribe and to like YouTube as well. The numbers have grown, which is brilliant, and we really appreciate that. Please do continue to do that. And if you would consider subscribing, please do. We'd appreciate it. Me and the Bearded Peacock. Me and Jerry will be back with a match reaction. That's coming up probably Sunday. We'll do it live. We like the live ones. They're good. They're live. Some live reaction for that one. Me and Jerry and George. And it's live. George, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, can
I just say as well, before you give a shout out, you did a little podcast, didn't you, for somebody?
Yes. So I'll just tell you briefly about that then, Arron.
Go on.
Paddy Gunn. I've collaborated with Paddy in the past when we signed Isaac Schmidt, because I knew that he was into his Swiss football. He loves his Swiss football. He's got a podcast on Swiss football. And I knew he was quite knowledgeable of it, so I reached out to him, and we did an interview. I interviewed him about Isaac Schmidt and what we can expect. And Paddy got me back on his channel, which is all purely Swiss football based. And I gave Talking Leeds a shout out. Of course, he said he would check it out. So so good evening, good morning, good night to Paddy if he's listening. I hope you're well, mate. So basically he interviewed me in terms of what my we gave a little interview about Talking Leeds, my podcast, Bearded Peacock, Talking Brazil Ball with James, my brother as well, and Talking Leeds, and then he went on to basically the idea was he wanted to get out of me what my team would look like. He said, forget Leeds, forget any other team that you have connections with or whatever. If we're building a club from scratch that you want, how would you want it to look? Transfer policy, would the youth system, would the academy be important? All this kind of stuff. Even down to, the kind of food that I like to eat, ranking, cuisines and such. Because obviously Switzerland have, different languages, different, everything in that country. And the idea of it was at the end of this, these questions that what I gave to him, the discussion that we had, he would give me, and he did, a Swiss football team that best suits my kind of style of what I've said that I would like my club to be. So, yeah. And in the end, he gave me St. Gallen, which is where obviously Schmidt came from, and that's what he said. My perspective and everything that I answered to him. That's where he felt the best was for me. The best club for me was St. Gallen. But go and have a look at that for Paddy. Paddy writes for the Square Ball as well. Yeah, he's a good man. Is Paddy living in Switzerland himself? So that's probably where his love of Swiss football has come from.
Good stuff. And you've got your bit of Peacock stuff.
Yes, well, my preview for the pressing game is up now. It went on this evening, so go check that out, everybody, if you haven't already. Like I said at the top, I've got some good numbers myself as well.
Oh, he has to get it in.
Well, there you go. New subscriber, thank you as well for that. And yeah, it's good if you're checking out that. Check out us on here as well. And Talking Brazil ball as well is rolling on as well. There's another round of games at the weekend as well, so we'll be keeping an eye on that, me and James as well. So if you want to head over there and have a look at how the Brazilian teams are doing that as well, we'll have another podcast coming as well. So yeah, it's all going on, and so hopefully, Leeds do us a favour and my vigour for it, because you do lose it at times. Will continue. So yes.
Good stuff, George. We will be back next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. And we will be previewing the Easter weekend football. Two games.
Wow, yeah. Two
Good
games.
Friday and Easter Monday, is it? Yep.
Yep.
And we will have all that to, and hopefully by then we might know where Leeds are heading. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.